Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Kevin Thornton.
And I'm Mark Johnson. Welcome to Sports Rapp. Tonight our topic is a serious one. We're going to get off the comedy wagon for at least a couple minutes tonight. Our topic tonight is, are drugs a problem in high school sports? I had an opportunity to take Rick Miller along with me Friday to St. Helens High School and Scappoose High School, and we did some interviews. I conducted the interviews, and Rick was my cameraman, and I want to thank him right now for going along and helping me with that. We're going to look at those in a little while, but before we do, I'd like to maybe get some phone call response from the viewers out there. Do you think, have any parents out there, if there's parents of high school students, have you heard of any problems with drugs or alcohol in high school athletics or anywhere else in the high school?
High school in general.
High school in general, it shouldn't be a problem, but unfortunately I think it is. The students we talked to didn't seem to think there was too much of a problem with the hard drugs. Mainly it was with alcohol was their general concern, and part of what they cited as a reason was a lot of times the high school kids, the athletes, will see on television, they'll see these beer commercials that are sponsoring sporting events, and they glorify the use of alcohol. They say, hey, game's over, let's go to the bar, have a drink, and I think that's part of the problem, but I think a lot of it starts at home. You want to comment on this, Kev? You're sitting over here nice and quiet. You can jump in any time.
Well, you're the expert here.
Well, I'm not really the expert.
You're the one that went out and did the interviews. I do know that while I was in high school, I had a problem with alcohol. I wasn't in sports or nothing, but I had a problem with some drugs too. Nothing major though.
Yeah.
But I have had a lot of friends that had drug and alcohol problems before, and it does play a major part in sports. I mean, one of the biggest problems with drugs now are steroids.
Yeah.
A lot of people think they can build their muscles by injecting steroids into their bodies, and in some cases it does help build muscles, but a lot of people go too far. What is it?
Lyle
Alzado is
he's dead because
right.
Of it. He got cancer because of it, and that was another thing that was brought up by some of the high school students at St. Helens. Was I asked them, I said, well, do you think when you see stuff like this on television, do the kids emulate their sports heroes? And he said, well, part of their response was no, they don't think it promotes it. In fact, they think about the only time that they really see anything about it is when a player is involved with a car crash or something like that, resulting from DUI or drugs or whatever, and they believe that it deters them from doing it. So maybe the media is playing a dual role here by promoting it and sponsoring sports with alcohol, and by showing what happens at the other end of it.
What was it up at the Coliseum? They had a thing up there. They're trying to ban beer from being taken into the arena.
Well, actually, they started out, they wanted to bring it in, and then I think they got some flack from MAD and some other organizations, and they backed out and decided not to do it.
Right.
Well, we've got a phone call. Go ahead, caller. Hello? Is the caller there?
There.
Hello.
Well,
obviously we didn't have a caller.
Obviously we're having some technical difficulties. 397-5886 is the number to call. Again, the topic is, are drugs a problem in high school sports? Call in and voice your opinion. Sounds like we've got a phone call. Go ahead, caller. Hello?
What's your question?
Can we turn up the volume?
What's the next question?
Tonight's question is, are drugs a problem in high school sports?
No, there are no problems.
There's no problems?
No, they don't use drugs that much.
Do you know of any of your friends that are involved with athletics that have at one time or another experimented with alcohol or drugs?
No.
None?
Only a couple out of
A couple? Well,
No, that doesn't even count though.
volume up.
But
We need.
I have a question. Do you think Phoenix is gonna pull it out?
Do I think Phoenix is going to pull it out? I think it'll take 7 games, but I think they will.
Yeah?
I think they'll be your Western Conference champions, and I think big surprise in the East. It may not be a surprise to a lot of people. I think New York's going to come out of the East.
I think Seattle and New York.
Wow, possible upset in the West.
Yeah, because I think Seattle, if they just play like they did today, they're so much more athletic and stuff, you know.
Yeah, they're a lot younger though too. I like the way they don't really come up with a game plan, and
just go free balling.
It helps them, you know. A lot of teams say, well, we have to have a game plan going into this game against such and such team, and George Karl, who's coach of the Seattle Supersonics, he goes into it without a game plan. He says, I'm going to let my players do what they want to do to get the job done, and he says, I'd like to see any coach in the league try and come up with a game plan to counter that. He says, and none of them do.
It's hard to do.
It's
very
darn near
hard to do.
impossible. You know, I mean, when you just let them go out there and play the type of game that they want to play, it's hard to come up with a game plan. You know, because they can
can't
change.
tell what they're going to do.
No, and they can change the tempo of the game at any time of the game.
Well, I like to say hi to Jeremy Dwayne. See you later.
All right, thanks for calling. Now, how do we constitute a problem with drugs in high school sports? I mean, personally, from my point of view, if one athlete is doing it, I constitute that as a problem, especially in high school.
I would constitute that as a problem too. My opinion is, if anybody drinks, they've got a problem.
Yeah.
I don't drink, but once a person gets started in drinking, especially being a teenager, they tend to carry it a little too far, and it becomes like an every week thing, and then it becomes an every couple days a week, and pretty soon you're drinking every day, you know. So
I agree.
You start off once, you know, you keep saying, I don't have a problem. Well, you got a problem.
Yeah. Now you mentioned, even though you weren't involved with athletics, you did have your problems with
drugs mainly.
With drugs and a little bit of alcohol. Where does this problem start? Is it a lot of it at home? Does it start at home with
Mine started because I wanted to try something different. I wanted to be different.
Yeah.
It shit never turned out to be. I wasn't different at all.
Yeah.
So I was still the same me.
Yeah.
It didn't change me. It changed me quite a bit, but
you're the same person. You're just high.
Right. Same person. I was just high.
So, but now a lot of it, and we, like I said, we talked to some people. We're gonna roll those here in a few minutes. A lot of them think that it's the old monkey see, monkey do. You know, you see the parents at home, if they're drinking, whether it's moderately or otherwise, then the child thinks it's okay to do it.
That and a lot of it's peer pressure.
Yeah.
You see, you talk to your friends. They say, "Oh yeah, we're going to go to this party tonight," and pretty soon, you're going to the party, and before you even know it, you're drunk.
Yeah.
And you got a problem.
Yeah. Okay, we have a phone call. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. What's happening?
Oh, I'm just sitting back here.
Okay. You got a question?
Oh, not really. I just wanted to comment. I don't think there's too much drinking going on with sports or not. You know what I mean?
Anything else?
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple parties every once in a while. People go out and get, shit-faced or something, but...
Okay. Why do high school students feel do they have something to prove to their friends by going out and drinking and smoking marijuana and doing this kind of stuff? Is it something to prove?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. It's not like, you just want to go out and have some fun.
Well,
I mean, there's nothing else.
Going out and having fun is one thing, but most people are going to have to drive somewhere or other, or find somewhere or other to get into the party, and if that means that somebody's drunk and tries to drive, that's where the fun stops, man, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, no, I'd never get in a car with someone that was driving or that was drunk. That'd be stupid.
Well, that's true, but if you're just as drunk as they are, your judgment is pretty much out the window too. And before
Well, usually I'm the DD. I don't drink. Some of my friends drink, but I don't.
that's
really,
cool.
To tell you the truth. I mean.
If you're gonna do it, have a designated driver.
Oh yeah. I mean, no, I never do that. I mean, there's a lot of people that drink, but there's a lot of people that don't drink. I mean, we got a lot of good athletes. You know, like Chris Laughlin and Todd Kunders, and like the whole sophomore class. They're like a bunch of studs. You know. And we don't drink hardly at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't think it's a problem in athletics?
No, I don't think it's a problem. I mean, it's there, but no, I don't think it's a problem.
Okay.
You know, during the sports, everybody finds training rules. And at our high school, we're also competitive to win that, you know, we want to win so bad that we wouldn't ever jeopardize anything like that. You know?
Sounds good. It's a good philosophy to have, man.
Yeah, it is.
It really is.
We got a lot of good coaches like Mr. Bigham and Mr. Jarman and, you know, Mr. Tinkle. And, you know, we got a lot of good coaches. Mr. Holstrom's a good basketball coach, you know.
Definitely. Some of the coaches over at the high school are some of the best high school coaches I've seen at motivating their players and
Oh, yeah.
keeping them away from a lot of this stuff. So
they're a big help, really.
well, and I think the discipline, if you get caught doing it, is incentive enough not to. We talked again to Mr. Bigham, Coach Bigham, and he stated that the discipline is pretty harsh. I mean, if you're caught drinking, you're suspended from the team for 3 weeks.
Not 2 weeks. They're suspended for 2 weeks.
Is it 2 weeks or 3?
It's 2. I'm pretty
It's
sure.
2. Okay, I was under the impression it was 3.
That's all right.
Suspended for 2 weeks, and I think there's if it continues, they still have to practice with the team, but they don't get to play. You know, so right there, that's an incentive not to. You know, if you're not going to get a play, you know, I mean that's an incentive enough not to do it. I think.
Oh yeah. There's you know, people don't drink. I don't think it's a problem at all. So you know, hey, off the subject, what do you think about Ryan Sandberg getting kicked out of that game?
Ryan Sandberg.
Yeah.
Actually, I haven't kept up much on baseball
Oh really?
lately. I really haven't had a chance. I don't get a chance to watch a lot of that. I don't have cable, so which really sucks.
No kidding. I don't have cable either.
You know, us guys that work hard down here at the TV station need cable so that we can monitor this stuff at home.
Really? You don't just throw old
You know,
tape in the
don't you think they should
Yeah.
provide us with free cable
Right,
service
right.
so we can monitor this stuff? I think they should.
I just throw an old tape in the VCR and come back and watch it, man. I think it'd be cool.
I'm sorry, caller. We're gonna have to try and get the volume up on the intercom here because I can't hear the caller.
I think you know they should be able to give you a cable. You know that's a bunch of crap, really. Yeah.
I agree. That's gonna be our topic next week.
I think
Yeah,
that's
there we go.
Should TV sports directors and their co-hosts have free cable so they can monitor this stuff? I think so.
Did the Macho Man call into your guys' station one time?
He's called in a couple times.
He used to call in every week, and we haven't heard from him for a couple of weeks.
What?
I haven't been here in a couple of weeks
yeah,
either.
That's true. Neither have I. It's 2 weeks ago since I've done a show. But anyway, so you don't think it's a problem? So that's 2 people that don't think it's a problem. Okay. Any other comments?
No, I want to tell you guys are doing a good job down there and keep it up.
All right. Hey, thanks a lot.
All right.
Take care, man.
Okay, JJ, if you're up there in the booth, if you're listening, which I hope you are because you're directing my show, do we have anything queued up as far as any of these roll-ins?
We sure do, Mark.
Do we?
Sure do.
Do we have a phone call?
Yeah, we do, Mark.
Okay, let's
Go ahead and take the phone
let's go
call.
ahead and take the phone call real quick. We'll try and keep it short. Now I want to roll a few of these roll-ins. Go ahead, caller.
I just wanted to say I wanted to vote yes on Walmart.
Oops, wrong show.
What are you talking about?
This is Sports Rap.
Sports rap?
Yeah.
Well, what sports are we talking about?
Well, right now our topic is there a problem with drugs in high school sports? That's our topic tonight.
Well, you should be able to tell everybody about that. Don't you remember about the days we used to smoke dope in school and stuff like that?
We can't.
I can't hear the caller.
Somebody, turn up the volume.
Hello?
Don't you remember in school whenever you used to smoke all that dope and stuff?
Yeah, right. I don't think so, pal.
Yeah. Oh well.
Who is this?
This is one of your old buddies.
One of my old buddies. I don't recognize the voice. Do you, Kev?
No, I don't.
Give me some initials here.
Initials?
Yeah, just give me your initials.
J.A.
J.A.
J.A. I don't know no J.A.
We'll have to go look in the annual at home.
Yeah.
J.A. Anyway.
Alrighty, well.
I think you're mistaken about me. In high school.
No, you and your buddy, they're both.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
No, that's one thing I didn't mess with was marijuana. Thank you.
I'll tell you. Yeah, thanks, JJ. I appreciate that. Let's take a little bit of time here and watch some of these interviews that we did Friday. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Johnson, host of Sports Rap here at St. Helens High School. We're going to be talking to some students here momentarily. The subject today is whether or not there is a problem with drugs and or alcohol in high school sports. We'll be, like I said, we'll be talking to some students. We'll be getting their opinions, and we'll do that right after this.
They're almost here. That's right, it's nearly Kids Off Campus time, a show by and for kids of all ages. If you want to be a part of the fun, call Channel 9 and we'll give you the details, 397-5886. And then this summer, watch Kids Off Campus here on CCTV 9. Kids Off Campus, see how much fun TV can really be.
And we're here in the Commons at St. Helens High School. We're talking to some athletes here. We're going to find out if they think there's a problem with drugs in high school sports. Who are we talking to? Let's start over here.
Anthony Valpiani.
Jason Lestrel.
Jason Gardner.
Lance Mannion.
Eric Matson.
Gary Young. And Clark Rawls.
All right. A huge group of guys here. We're going to find out what their opinion is on this. We'll start with, who wants to start here? Is there a problem with drugs in high school sports? Who wants to start?
No, I don't think in our around St. Helens there's not a problem with that. There's a problem with I'd say alcohol abuse in the school, but not in the athletes.
Okay, you don't consider alcohol abuse the same as a drug problem?
No, I would consider that the same, but just not in our athletes.
Okay.
Like football teams, stuff like
the
that.
majority of the athletes don't drink alcohol. Well, my people I know that were on the team, but quite a few of my friends would chew and steroids, and weightlifting and stuff like that.
There are people that you actually know of that do steroids. Now, were they prescribed or were they just? Because I know there are some steroids that can be prescribed by a doctor.
They were prescribed. They were illegal.
Okay. We won't name any names. We don't want to get anybody in trouble. But anybody else want to touch on the subject here? It's lunchtime and everybody wants to eat, so that's our problem. We came at the wrong time. We came on empty stomachs too. So anybody else? Come on, back here. What do you think?
What do you think, Eric?
Yeah. No, I don't. I don't think there's a problem.
Okay.
People do it, but I don't think it's a big problem.
As far as I'm concerned, anybody that does it constitutes a problem. Even if one person does it, I constitute that as a problem. Because personally, I don't think anybody should be doing it. If there's even one person doing it, I constitute that as a problem.
Yeah, I don't think. I've heard there being problems in the bigger Portland schools and stuff like that, but that's just rumor. I don't know, but I don't see it being a problem here at all.
Is it?
I mean, there is some drug use, like maybe tobacco, but no, I've only heard of one person that
Now, I had an opportunity to talk with the principal of the high school down the road here up in Scappoose. I know you guys probably don't want to hear that, but we're going to be going there later on today. We're going to talk to some people up there. I know there's a big rivalry between the two schools. Now, Scappoose being a little closer to Portland, do you think it could come this way a little bit?
It's already starting to come this way with the gangs and that sort of thing.
I've heard there's a lot more little drug problem there. Just rumor though.
Okay, now I had a chance, like I said, to talk to the principal up there. He seems to think that some of the stuff that's on the rise again, that's coming back, is acid and amphetamines, as well as being a problem with alcohol among the students. Do you think that's on its way down this way?
I see more of a problem around here is with alcohol, mostly, and maybe let's say like marijuana. I'd say that's the two major ones. If you start talking like that kind of drugs, none of the major drugs like you'd say like amphetamines and acid and stuff like that.
Okay. Do you think it could become a problem if we don't stop it now?
Yeah, maybe in the future, but I see like most of the classes that are in the school right now are pretty good classes, and they're not into that kind of stuff.
All right. Well, anybody else want to come on and comment on this before? Okay.
I just want to say it's a sad thing that people have to do this. I mean, look at this class of '93. We're not like that. We just like to go out and have a good time. I mean, we're tight, and make sure that you don't get into drugs. Just say no, because hey, when you're tight like us, you don't have to worry about any bad things happening. Peace.
You don't need word. I just like to say that you don't need drugs and alcohol to be to perform in sports. All it's going to do is hamper your performance, and you just want to. If you want to be a good athlete, you just want to stay off drugs.
And you also don't need that to have fun. You can always, go to Portland and watch a movie, or, just go bowling.
Play Yahtzee, hating that. There's bowling is good, and it's good exercise. That's true. That's true. Now,
better ventilated though.
I agree. Now, probably another question I want to ask is, if I can remember it. I almost forgot it. No, okay, here it goes. I'm having fun. Do you think a lot of the drug use that is happening, there's obviously not a lot, but the stuff that is happening, do you think a lot of it stems from a lot of the students watching professional athletes, some professional athletes doing some of this, and hearing about them doing this?
No, I wouldn't think so. Most of the time you hear about that is like either after a car wreck or something like that, and I think that's more of a negative.
Yeah, so most of the time it makes them want to not do that. Is what after they hear about that kind of thing.
You hear like Lyle Alzado dying and cancer and stuff like that. You always hear negative stuff about drug use from the pros.
Well, I think it's bad that the advertising for sports things are always like beer commercials and
always on
and always on like during football and basketball season. Like the college sports are now being sponsored by alcohol, and most of the college students aren't even of age to drink yet. So I think that's just too.
Yeah, it is becoming a problem.
Do you think they should stop using alcohol commercials to advertise sports?
A lot of the commercials have like they're playing the sports, and after they're done, well, they go out and they have a beer all together as a group and stuff. And for the younger people, I mean, they don't want to get started in that stuff because that's just horrible.
It's sad.
So that they ought to ban those commercials just like they ban the cigarette commercials, I think. And you never see them. You see them on the commercials. They have the alcohol. They never actually drink it, and so it's it's kind of fraud. So.
Do you think do a lot of the athletes smoke?
Chewing mostly, not smoking.
Yeah, it's mostly tobacco. It's mostly chewing tobacco.
I don't think anybody's into like performance enhancement drugs like steroids and stuff. It's mostly just recreational. If people are going to do it, it's just for fun. It's not to enhance their athletic performance.
Yeah. I'd say with the success we've had at St. Helens, it's not to drug use.
We just work hard. That's all it is.
Coaching.
Blood, sweat, and tears is what gets for St. Helens High.
That's right.
We can nominate everybody.
So what happened to the baseball team this year? Anyway, we're back. Thanks for warning us, but we're back. It's so nice to
At least
be
we weren't doing anything
more
embarrassing, like watching you pick your nose or something like that.
True. We have a phone call. Wow, that was quick. Go ahead, caller.
I don't think that drugs are a problem in the high school in sports. I think they're a problem in high school, but not in sports.
Okay, you don't think any of the athletes or very few of the athletes are doing this, huh?
I don't think that a lot of high school guys and girls in sports do drugs and stuff like that.
You think the general population of the school body is what is affected by drugs and alcohol?
Right.
How big of a problem do you think there is?
Well, I know there's a lot of high school students that do drugs, but the sports people, the majority of them doesn't because it just ruins your performance.
Okay. What kind of drugs are we talking here?
Marijuana.
Marijuana?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are there any harder drugs like methamphetamines, coke, things like that?
Not that I know of.
Okay, so it's mainly marijuana.
Marijuana,
Same,
alcohol.
same kind of stuff.
Acid and alcohol.
And alcohol. Same as it was when we were in high school.
Right.
Nice to know things haven't changed.
Right.
That caller that last called in, I hate it when people prank like that. It makes me mad.
Makes me mad too, you know? We work hard to do this show.
I know, and I hate it when assholes like that think they're bad to do that.
All right. Love to hear from you.
Thanks for your input.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's the kind of stuff I like to hear. Which camera am I? Let's get some tally lights going, shall we? I hate to guess which camera I'm looking into.
Well, you look at that one, I'll look at this one, and one of us will be right.
One of us will be right.
We're on this one.
We're on two. Two is live. Okay.
Actually, wasn't
Anyway.
two supposed to be over there?
It used to be. Oh, we have a phone call.
Phone call. Hello.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, we're just trying to figure out which camera to look into.
That's pretty funny. You have a fun time talking to the high schoolers?
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun.
Those guys are pretty cool. Like Gary Young, he's cool. You know?
Yeah. All those guys we talked to are really. They handled themselves fairly well.
Yeah,
They got kind of crazy towards the end, but television does that to people, you know.
You probably couldn't show that part, huh?
Oh, I don't know. It's
Probably could, but
Oh, that's all right. I was just wondering.
we're trying to keep a little on the serious side tonight.
Yeah, we'll be showing a little more of the clips later on tonight too. We've got about a half hour to go, so you know we'll see a few more of them. We're gonna try and get JJ to cue up some of the stuff from Scappoose. We don't have much of a chance very often to get Scappoose' point of view in there. And
Not too often. We don't make it up there all that often.
No, we kind of feel like they're left out, and we don't want them to feel left out. So we'll hopefully. Those are towards the end, by the way, JJ. So
Scappoose, you do count.
you do count.
I don't know about that.
They
Now,
do.
come on, it's just good sportsmanship, man.
You know what Jason Gardner was talking about? You know Jason Gardner, right?
Yeah.
He's pretty cool, but you know he was talking about Scappoose. I think they have a bigger drug problem than St. Helens does.
Why do you think that?
I don't know, 'cause there's been a lot of people there that I know. They just they get all stoned and stuff and get in car wrecks, and I don't know. They just walk around and they pretend they're studs and always want to get in fights and stuff.
What about Rainier?
Rainier, those guys in Rainier are pretty cool, but they're heavy partiers too, I think. I don't know. I know a lot of guys in Rainier. They're cool though.
We'll have to talk to one of our camera people here. Todd Hilton is almost a graduate at Rainier High School, and we'll have to talk to him a little bit and find out maybe what the general consensus is up in Rainier.
Do you guys ever go to Rainier and talk to them?
We haven't made it up there yet. I haven't had a whole lot of time on my hands lately, but hopefully one of these days. I'd like to get some high school kids in here that could act as correspondents for us that can go around the areas and get people's
So we're going
opinions.
to invite some down tonight?
Yeah, in fact, I was told that some of them were going to come down tonight.
If you guys are watching in the show, want to get on the show, voice your opinion, come on down.
We got
Be
about
more
a
than
half
happy
hour,
to
got
put you
about
on
a half
there.
hour left if you want to come down and
Not good. Hey, you remember a while back you had that plant on your show?
the plant.
Yeah, I like that thing, man. What happened to it?
I don't know. I think we ate it, man.
I don't know what happened. Oh, our plant's over here.
I ate it. We ate it for lunch, man. Good fiber in that, you know. Oh, hey! Let's handle the plants with a little more care, Ted. Obviously, you're not a
Don't
master
toss it
gardener
next time.
here.
Throw it like a football.
That's right.
That's right, football. Hey, what do you think about that state championship game this year?
I loved it. We were there. We were there.
We were there.
That was great, huh?
We loved it. We
You
loved it.
know the part I liked the best is when Clark intercepted that one pass right before half and ran that baby all the way back. Whew.
Yep.
Or when Anthony
56
Valpiani
yards.
intercepted that one too. That was awesome.
Yeah,
I take it you're a football player?
Yeah, play football.
Yeah.
It's great sport on earth.
I'd have to disagree. I like basketball better, but that's just me. That's just me.
Oh, sorry about that.
Hey, no problem. No problem. To each his own. To each his own.
You know, some people like basketball. You know.
We can't all be perfect like me.
But you know, our wrestling team was pretty strong, you know, for the past couple of years. This
Yeah.
year we kind of had it was a tough time, but we'll come back and be state champs next year.
Right on. I want to see it.
Huh?
I want to see it.
You hear about the track team? Oh man, one point we were winning the state championship by a point.
Yeah.
And going into the 1600-meter relay race, you know.
Yeah.
And we didn't have a team there. We lost it by 5.
Oh man.
What a shame.
Couldn't believe that. That really
No
hurt.
doubt.
Yeah, but this guy's game.
I would have put together a team at the last minute, man. Yeah, you, and you.
Well, we didn't qualify at districts.
Oh, well.
But they gave their best. Randy Mitz, he's a stud. You guys don't get out to the track enough. I don't think. I mean.
Yeah, we don't have much of an opportunity. Kevin and I both work during the day.
I work.
So.
I don't get home until like 7 o'clock at night. So by the time we get home, it's.
That's why I say we need more high school.
Don't have much time.
we need more high school people in there to help out.
Yeah, I understand though. You guys do a good job for what you guys are doing. That's
We try and bring as much coverage as we can when we have the time, but we need more people. We can't do it alone. So if we could, we would. If we were getting paid to do this and we didn't have other jobs, it wouldn't be so bad. What the heck are you doing at the plant, Kev? Jeez.
What happened?
I don't know.
The plant fell over.
I don't know if I want to know.
We had a rad hurdling team this year with Randy and Jeff. I don't know how many times you guys made that track with us, man. They're just two of the best hurdlers you ever see.
No, we didn't make it to any of the track meets this year. I would have liked to, but work schedule just doesn't allow for it sometimes.
Well, that's all right. I understand.
It's a lot easier to make the winter sports because they start later in the evening. So.
Oh yeah, so sun doesn't go down when you're in the gym.
Yeah, so it's a lot easier to make the winter sports than it is the spring sports. So.
It is.
But like I say, if we have more of a crew next year, which I'm hoping we will, you're going to see a lot better coverage.
That's why we need volunteers. We get volunteers. They'll go out there and be able to film some of this stuff for us.
Yeah, definitely.
Be able to show it.
All right. Definitely. Anything else you want to comment on?
Yeah, you get a new haircut, Mark?
No, it's the same haircut, different day.
Where do you get that at? You go to Dick's?
No, man.
No, Dick and Scappoose, man. He gives good haircuts, let me tell you.
No, actually, I go right across the street from the studio here.
Oh, really?
He goes to a beauty parlor.
I go to a salon, man. This is a salon. This is a salon. No, the reason I do is because I get a better price.
Some guy named Georgie cuts it. Back
let's
off.
Let's not get into that.
Back off.
Yeah, you back off, man. You back off, man. I'm going to hurt you, man. I'm going to mess you up.
Look your ear.
Hey, what do you guys think about gays in the military? You think that's all right or pretty stupid?
I say let them in.
The best place for them.
I'm not prejudiced. Let them in.
Yeah.
Let them
in.
Yep.
Yep.
You don't think that's not going to make everybody else mad?
Well, whatever you do, it's going to make people mad. If you don't let them in, the gays are going to be mad. If you do let them in, other people are going to be mad. So just do it.
That's so very true. That's a good point.
You're not going to please everybody, so
you
just
please some of the people all the time, but you can't please all the people.
Some of the time.
That's a very good point.
All the time.
God, I feel like we're on live wire, Kev.
I know. What is that, man?
What is that? That's
a show. That's a show.
That's the brainchild of our own Todd Hilton.
Well, you guys take it easy.
All right.
You have a good one.
All right.
Wait, here's Todd coming up.
Here's Todd coming up.
Show Todd. There's Todd,
the man behind Live Wire.
Here we get a picture of our floor director, Holly, right there, just to prove to her dad that she's here.
Yeah. Really, Mr. Muriel? She's
there's
here.
Holly. Say hi.
Really, Dad? She's here. We wouldn't lie.
Just look at the color of red. We have a phone call.
That's a nice shade of red.
We have a phone call.
Go ahead, caller.
Hi. I don't think there's a problem with drugs in the high school.
Okay. So everybody says no. Okay.
No. And they say that Scappoose has more of a problem. I'm not really sure. They might have a little bit more of a problem. I think they have more of a problem with gangs, but.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah. Well, that could be.
Maybe our next topic would be gangs in high school sports.
Their football games are pretty wild, I heard. They have lots of gangs down there.
Do gangs attend high school sporting events? On the next Geraldo. Throw chairs.
Next
Hit
Marco.
on the next Marco. I'm get a mustache, make myself look like Geraldo. On the next Marco.
Oh, we're getting a little off track.
Yes, we're getting way off track, man. This is like Livewire here. This is like Livewire here, man.
And you can watch Livewire every Saturday night,
at midnight, or a little bit later. Whatever they feel like going on.
Who's yelling in the background? Hello?
Hello?
Hello? I think the
Going
caller
once, going twice. Sold to the highest bidder. Anyway, let's get off this subject.
Let's change the subject.
Yeah, let's have a little fun here.
Today, I had a chance to watch the Indianapolis 500.
Emerson Fittipaldi.
Emerson Fittipaldi,
the man,
coming out on top.
Ari Lyondike second. Who came in third?
I don't know.
Defending
champion Al Unser Jr.
Who's on third.
Yeah. Defending champion Al Unser Jr. came in 8th, I do believe. Didn't do too hot.
Yeah.
We got a phone call?
Go ahead, caller.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
I just have kind of a comment to make about drugs in the high school and with teenagers and things.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that we would have less of a problem. I know there's a problem because I have a teenage brother, but I think we'd have less of a problem if the adults or the people over 18 wouldn't contribute and give the drugs and alcohol to the kids.
I think you're right. I think that is a lot of the problem because, hey, you know, these teenagers have to get it somewhere. Obviously, they can't get it by themselves because they're underage. They have to get it somewhere, and
you know, and I listen. I have a police scanner at home that I listen to all the time, and I hear all the time about people calling and turning in other people that are buying for minors. I hear all kinds of minor and possession calls. You know, so there is a slight problem out there with you know, people buying alcohol for minors. That is a true statement.
Yeah, definitely.
But please crack down on it. People get turned in for it all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I just think that turn the TV down. I just think that that all the kids calling in from the high school saying there's not a problem aren't looking at the problem, because it wasn't very long ago that I was in high school, and
sometimes
I know there was a problem.
Sometimes when you're in the middle of the situation, you can't see the situation you're in.
Yeah.
It's like the old saying, you can't see the forest for the trees, you know.
Right.
Yeah, well, I think that the problem is more, isn't so much with the athletes as far as drugs and stuff, because they know that if they're caught, they're off the team. That's it. So it's just how important it is to them, if they're taking it seriously or not.
We even had a couple of the athletes say that if they were doing it, and they had like an older brother that was a former athlete, and they found out that they were doing it, there have been instances where the older brother will actually turn that younger sibling in to the coach for discipline.
Yeah.
And that's happened before. And I asked the athletes at St. Helens. I said, well, would you want your older brother to do that to you? And a lot of them said, well, you don't want them to do it to you, but if it helps the team, it's one person sacrificing for the good of the team, and if that's what it takes to help the team win, then yes, they would want it done to them.
Right.
So they are recognizing that, that if it does become a problem, they want the solution. They want it taken care of.
Well, you said you have a younger brother, a teenage brother that's into alcohol and drugs and things like that.
Well, he's not really into alcohol and drugs, but I mean, he knows when parties are and that kind of thing. And
he don't. Does he like go to the parties and get drunk, or?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes I know that he does, but.
Can he admit it?
Yeah. Yeah, he can. He's kind of just does his own thing, kind of thing. Nobody can really tell him what to do, you know.
That's a teenager.
Has he been in high school sports?
Some when in his younger high school years, like when he was a freshman and a sophomore.
At that time, did he have a problem with alcohol and drugs?
Not really.
Not at all?
Not really. It's just recently, like within the past year or so. But I also wanted to ask you guys, when you were in high school, was there that much of a problem?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't see it because I wasn't really involved in the athletics.
I didn't really see it in athletics. I seen it everywhere else.
Yeah.
Most
you could see it.
But then again, most of the people I seen were doing it were athletes and things like that. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It was there. You know, you may not have seen it, but you knew it was there.
I know right after I got out of high school, a couple of years after that, I know the big thing were steroids, and a lot of the athletes were using those as bodybuilders and things like that. And in fact, I know a couple people personally that have used those.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's too bad that you know, one or two people have to do something like that to build up their strength and their looks when there's other students and athletes that are working hard in the gym and in the weight room to do the same thing that these guys are just taking steroids to do.
Well, I think that if there was a problem when you guys were in high school, that it's going to get worse before it gets better. That
Definitely.
People need to address the problem.
Definitely, and hopefully that's what we can do here. You know, help people realize that this is a problem. You know, we're not trying to hype it or anything, and we're not saying that it's a huge problem, but we do believe that it is a problem and it needs to be taken care of. So, and it's not just us that think it's a problem. You know, I got the idea for this, to do this topic on this show, from high school kids, that they thought there was a problem. So, and they felt that it needed to be addressed. So,
yeah,
that's why we're doing the show.
Well, I was listening to your interview with the high school kids at St. Helens, and I think it's pretty close-minded to think that Rainier and Scappoose would be doing it and we wouldn't, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, because we're a bigger city than Scappoose and Rainier both.
Right, combined.
So.
Okay. Alrighty.
Well, thanks a lot.
Thanks for calling.
Bye.
Bye now. Okay, this just handed to me.
Okay, wait a minute. Before we do that.
This just in.
Before we do that, hand that to me.
Oh.
This just in. Tonight on Community Live with J.J. Wright. We're going to be talking about Walmart, wetlands at the new McBride site, and
what do you think?
That'll be coming up right after.
That's next on Livewire. No, wait a minute. That's a Community.
Come on. Next on Community. Community Live with J.J. Wright.
That's next on Community. I am being told that we have a phone call. If the caller can hold on for me, well, let's go ahead and take the call. Let's take the call real quick, and then we're going to watch the interviews from Scappoose. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, I have a comment on the drugs in sports.
Okay.
I believe that there is a drug problem in St. Helens and Scappoose and Rainier.
Okay.
It's the last caller that said that there was a problem in Scappoose and Rainier, but not St. Helens.
Well, actually, actually, I think what she was saying is she was.
No, not her.
The previous caller.
Teenager.
Right. The caller before that. Okay. Yeah, because this
I
other
just kind of think he was in a kind of like denial.
Dream world, I think, is what you want to.
That alcohol wasn't a drug.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think he was off in his little old world by himself there, thinking that there's not a problem here, but it's somewhere else. And I think that's a big part of the problem is the students in one school think, well, it's not a problem here, but if you go to this other school down the road, it's a problem. Or if you go down the road the other way to this other school, it's a problem. But it's not a problem here, you know. And that's really what's happening at most of the schools. Well, it's not a problem here, but if you go to St. Helens.
They'll go to Portland, they'll say that
that's
they don't have a problem, that's the outlying areas that have the problem.
And how does he know it's a problem in the other schools if he doesn't party?
Yeah.
Right.
That's true. All right. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I got a comment. I missed the show about when you guys were talking about Trade and Clyde Drexler.
Uh-oh. Are we going to catch some heck for this?
Yeah, I don't really think you guys know much about basketball.
Oh, now come on.
Let's not be burning us now, okay?
Would you like me to prove that I know something about basketball?
Well, hold on a sec. Did you ever make it down half court?
Hey, I can play with the best of them, man. I can keep up with the best of them. Not for very long, but I can. I'm going to prove to you that I know what I'm talking about when it comes to basketball. This is the NBA playoff bracket here. I don't know if we can get a close-up on it. Now, the only one that I have missed so far of these series is my favorite team getting knocked out. That's the San Antonio-Portland series. That's the only one I missed predicting. That's the only one. I've been right on every other one of them. I've been right on New York, Charlotte, Cleveland, Chicago, Phoenix, Seattle, Houston. I've been right on all these, man. The only one I've missed is Portland, San Antonio. Tell me I don't know what I'm talking about with basketball.
When it comes down to Blazers.
Hey, so I don't know my own team, okay? I know the rest of them though.
Well, anybody can guess.
What?
Yeah. How many people can guess that correctly though?
How many people have won the lottery?
I haven't. Actually, that's not true. I got 5 out of 6 ones.
Yeah, you and about 50 other people.
No, only 30.
Anything else, caller?
Oh, that's about it.
All right, we're going to have to wrap up the phone call. Okay, JJ, before we get another phone call, no more phone calls, please. We're going to watch another cartoon. No, I'm no, we're going to watch the interviews that I taped up at Scappoose High School on Friday. They're a lot shorter than the ones we got at St. Helens. We got a little less, actually a lot less participation from Scappoose than we did from St. Helens. But nevertheless, we did get some participation and maybe some good ideas on what we can do to stop this problem. So JJ, if you would, please roll those clips now.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Johnson for Sports Rap. I'm at Scappoose High School, and we're talking to students, and we're going to find out if they think that drugs are a problem in high school athletics. Who am I talking to today?
Brooke Narragon.
Okay. What do you think? Do you think in high school sports, do you think drugs and alcohol are becoming a problem?
I think that in your bigger schools, you've got more of a problem. You've got a lot more competition. In your smaller schools, such as Scappoose, I feel that there's not as much of a need to take drugs. You can, basically do your own thing and not feel the competition that you would in a larger school.
Do you know of anybody, not to name names, but do you know of any friends of yours that are athletic that, not necessarily during school, but, like after school, that go to parties and, drink or whatever?
Yes, I do.
Are any of them involved with athletics at all?
Yeah.
So it's not really a problem during school, but sometimes after school and where it can't really be controlled.
Yeah, definitely.
Where do you think the problem starts? Does it start at home with the parents?
I think at times it does. It basically your different peer groups, what your friends are doing, and if you see your parents doing something, the old saying, if you see your parents, it's okay for the kids. I don't know. Basically, if your friends are in it, then it's real easy to follow along with it.
Okay. But as a whole, in general, you don't think it's really a problem here at Scappoose, though?
No, not
at this time.
No, not that bad.
Do you think it could become a problem within the next couple of years?
I think that we have fairly strict rules about it here. If you play a sport, you sign a contract that says you can't drink or do tobacco or any kind of drug or anything. I think that if the rules get stricter, I think they will, the athletes will keep up their end of the bargain. I think, though, that if the rules aren't made any stricter, I think, problems could arise.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Mark Johnson back here at Scappoose High School. We're talking to a few people here. The question is there a problem with drugs in high school sports? I'm talking to who?
Michelle Morgan.
Okay, and?
David Reese.
Stan Lomnicki.
Okay. Let's get your opinions here. Do you think there's a problem with drugs in high school sports?
Not that I know of.
Nothing around here that you know of?
No.
Okay.
Not a big problem.
Okay. Not a big problem. Okay. Does that say there is somewhat of a problem around here?
Maybe.
I look at it this way: if there's even one high school student that's an athlete that's either doing drugs or drinking alcohol, I look at that as a problem. And so, but I mean, a big problem. Is there a big problem around here with it?
I think maybe with alcohol, because there's nothing for the teenagers to do. But like hard drugs, I don't see a problem at Scappoose High School.
Okay. What can be done to change this to where we can give the young people something to do, to where they don't go out and drink alcohol and get into trouble and stuff?
I think that the city of Scappoose and St. Helens should get together and get some activities for the teenagers to do, so that they don't have to drink to have a good time.
Okay. Okay, let's throw out some ideas, like maybe a recreation center, video game, maybe somebody could bring a business in here with a video game palace or whatever, or I don't know if video games are really still popular around here or not, but I go to places like bigger towns like Portland and Beaverton. I know it's still a pretty big thing. What are some other ideas you can come up with, to keep people busy?
Probably have some kind of thing like a park or swimming pool or something around here to do, so we could do something instead of just drink, I guess.
Okay. Do you guys see a lot of kids that will go off campus at lunch and they'll come back with alcohol? I've had a chance to talk to the principal here, and he seems to think there's more of a problem with alcohol than anything around here. Is that what you guys are seeing?
Yeah,
okay.
Drugs too.
There's drugs too. Okay. He also mentioned he thought that things like amphetamines and acid were also on the rise. Okay, we're back. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty there, but we're back. Do you think there's any problems with steroids being used here?
I haven't heard of anything, and I don't think that there's much of a problem, if there is.
Okay. Where does all this? What do we need to do to stop this? Besides giving the kids something to do, where else? What other avenues can we pursue to stop this problem?
I don't know, maybe have something about drugs, have like some lecture coming or something.
Do the students tend to actually listen to these things? Because I know when I was in high school, a lot of it was, they'd bring in these people to talk about this stuff, and half the student body would be sitting there sleeping, or 2/3 of them wouldn't even show up to the assembly. Do the students actually listen to what goes on at these assemblies?
No.
No? Okay, at least we're honest here. At least we're honest. So do you think an assembly like that would actually work? Do you think that the students that are actually drinking the alcohol and taking the drugs, do you think they're actually going to listen to some of these so-called old fogies out here who are trying to tell them not to do this because it's bad for them and stuff like?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
I think if they did the right approach, where if they got athletes in here, maybe from the Blazers or football players or something, and told them, that drugs, you're not going to get anywhere, that the athletes would tend to listen to them better than just someone saying, don't use drugs, don't use alcohol.
Okay.
And this just handed to me. Tonight on Community Live with J.J. Wright, be watching. He will have Walmart discussions. He'll be talking about wetlands and the proposed McBride site. And he'll find out what you think on all this. And that's coming up next on Community Live. And we're going to we're going to go to another phone call. We have about 4 or 5 minutes.
One more call.
One more phone call. Go ahead, caller.
Hi.
Hi.
I used to go to Scappoose High School, and I don't think there's really that big of a drug problem. I think maybe it's a selected group at Scappoose. But as for the assemblies, those assemblies they had were for kindergartens. It was so under our level, and everybody was so bored. That's probably why we were half asleep. I remember this one guy that came. It was the same guy we had in junior high, and he did the exact same assembly, and it was lame. No one was interested in it. And like our vice principal there, I don't know how to explain him, but I don't think it's that big of a drug problem in Scappoose. I think people are just kind of picking on Scappoose because it's a small town and it's a selected group that seems to be more.
I don't think we're picking on any town. I think it's a problem in Rainier, St. Helens, Scappoose,
Vernonia,
Clatskanie, everywhere.
Well,
it's a
as long as
problem
I can remember,
everywhere.
I can always remember people saying, "Oh, you're from the Scappoose. There are all a bunch of druggers and stoners there." You know, we're not. I think it's just one group that everybody seems to think. And for a gang problem, I mean, I just graduated 2 years ago, and I didn't see any gangs in school ever.
Yeah, I think it's all escalated in the last couple of years.
It must have.
I think it has. I think you're going to see, and it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
So, and it's sad that it has to happen, especially.
I just wanted to stick up for Scappoose because I feel like they're getting kind of picked on.
We're not here to pick on anybody. What we're saying is it's a problem everywhere. It's not just Scappoose. It's not just St. Helens. It's not just Rainier. It's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to do something
needs to be
about
done
it.
to curb it.
Yeah.
To stop it.
You know, we're not here to pick on any one town or any group, but and I'm sorry you feel that way because we're not. You know.
Okay.
But anyway, we're gonna have to wrap this up. We'd like to thank you for your call. You have any other comments you'd like to make real quick?
No, that's okay.
Okay.
Thanks for calling.
Thanks for calling. Well, that's going to wrap it up here tonight for another edition of Sports Wrap. I want to thank Kevin Thornton for coming on here with me, Ted Gross, and Holly Merrill, and Todd Hilton, and J.J. Wright, and Rick Miller. And if I've left out anybody, please let me know. I'm sorry. Was Paul Williamson up there?
No, but he was here.
He was here. He came down for a little bit.
Would like to remind everybody that drugs and alcohol are a problem. If you ever get the chance, just say no, man.
It's your best move. Good night, everybody.
Slam dunk, boom, the bass pumps hard when it's made by Todd. So don't drop your guard, 'cause we'll talk about sports over the phone at home. For you couch potatoes, wear it out foam. Let me get a Mark J and the K, giving you the play-by-play. On B-ball or any ball, you make the call, y'all. Live from Channel 9, speak your mind, 'cause it's about time for the Sports Wrap.